1 week, 7 days away. Let's go. This is my top 30 wide receiver rankings heading into week 1. If you guys want to do me a favor, like and subscribe. All the support is appreciated. Scroll down, drop a couple comments in. Whatever your guys' thoughts are, I will try to answer them all as fast as I can. And let's dive into it, guys. At number 1, it is going to be Jamar Chase. Yes, not Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase. He is coming for the Triple Crown this season. Rule the jungle. I'm going to take him number 1. Burrow's calf strain will not rectify anything he does with the season. It will be the Jamar Chase season. I'm telling you, take him over Jet as number 1. At number 2, following right behind, the safest play. I mean, probably ADP across the board. Everyone's number 1 pick. I'm just taking the the Chase jump over it because I like him better. But Justin Jefferson, I mean, this guy could also triple crown it. Same thing. These two are obviously 1 and 2 every time. You can't go wrong with either one. At number 3 is Cooper Kupp. And man, I made this video ahead of time. He just retweaked his hammy again. And I was literally going to talk about all this. I've been tweeting about this. I've been telling everyone this is the scariest pick of the first round for like 2 to 3 months now. You got to factor in 30 years old, coming off major surgery, tweaked his hammy in the preseason, retweaked it again today. Matt Stafford is 35 years old. His injuries are piling up. The Rams are favored for 6.5 wins in Vegas, which means that they're not contenders at all. I mean, down the stretch of your fantasy playoffs, are you even going to see a vet at 30 or 35 even playing in the fantasy playoffs? This is why I was so skeptical on Cooper Kupp. But goddamn, when he is on the field and healthy, he's the number 1 averager for the past 2 years. 22.5 points a game for the past 2 years. You have to draft him, but I don't know where you draft him now with this injury. But I'm leaving him at number 3, even though, the injury just happened. At number 4 is going to be Tyreek Hill, Mr. I'm going to get 2,000 yards. Now, for him, it all depends on Tua. I know that Mike White's the backup and he's serviceable, but he will not put up the same numbers as Tua. The accuracy's not the same. He doesn't move as well in the pocket. But the problem with the Dolphins is their O-line is ranked 22nd. They just lost their left tackle, their best lineman, Teron Armstead. Supposed to be a couple weeks, but this guy's injury history is like every 4 weeks he gets banged up. He's probably I think he's played like 6 games or something. Like the past 2 years, this guy's always hurt. So the offensive line does give you a little skepticism, but I'm gonna leave him at 4 because he's so electric. He can ball with anyone. At number 5 is gonna be Stephon Diggs, who was literally on pace in 22 for wide receiver 1 numbers till Josh Allen, got his little Tommy John elbow injury. I don't care if there's any beef going on. This guy's route running is immaculate. He's always open. And especially if you play in a league with bonus for deep balls, this is where he thrives. And Allen just gunslings it out. Stephon Diggs could be 2 or 3 this year, honestly. At number 6, it is the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have this guy higher than most fantasy, whatever you watch, other analysts, whatever it is. I am so high on Amon-Ra this season. I'm fine with you taking him at the end of the first, even top 10. That's how high I want this guy. His volume is through the roof. And the little stat that I didn't know till yesterday was Amon-Ra was tackled inside the 1-yard line 6 times last season and 7 times inside the 5. So 1 more extra inside the 5. Just imagine those extra fantasy points on top. He would have been, and he missed 3 games, so he would have been wide receiver 1 or 2. I mean, I'm all about this guy. Draft him whenever you can. Take him before everyone. I love Amon-Ra so much this season. At number 7 is going to be C.D. Lamb, 88. I love C.D. Won me a fantasy championship last year. I mean, they say they added Brandon Cooks and the volume's going to stop. No, this guy's such an elite receiver. He's proven that he's top 5, top 6 in the league now. Dak is going to feed him all day. You could even take him, same as Amon-Ra, late in the first round. I'm okay with that. At number 8 is A.J. Brown, who actually a lot of analysts or a lot of tweets and stuff that I see say that this guy could be wide receiver 1. The chemistry is building over camp. 2nd year with Jalen Hurts. They're going to be flying. He looks faster. He's an athletic specimen. I mean, A.J. Brown, same thing as C.D. Lamb, could go into the first, mid-second. Can't go wrong with that. The Eagles have a tougher schedule this year, so they won't be ahead most of the time. So they'll be passing, I'll say a little bit more than last season. So you'll see that more this year too. So more volume will be available. At number 9 is Garrett G. Wilson. After that 3rd preseason game with A-Rod, this guy is coming, man. He is coming for blood. He looks unguardable, unstoppable. His breaks, his routes, everything looks better than last year. And you give him a Hall of Fame quarterback. Garrett Wilson to the moon. Could be dark horse wide receiver one, just like Amon-Ra for me. And number 10 is my favorite target that I'm targeting in every draft. It's like people forgot about Calvin Ridley. This guy was wide receiver 4 2 years ago with Matt Ryan at quarterback. Now you give him a generational talent like Trevor Lawrence. This is going to be fireworks, man. I know that people say there's so much to go around. There's Christian Kirk, there's Zay Jones. I mean, Zay Jones was more a benefactor of Trevor Lawrence being good last year than it was Zay Jones being good. Now you give him an elite talent like Trevor or like Calvin Ridley, and this is just going to go off. I think his ADP is still too low. I would put him above. If I was drafting, I would draft him above AJ Brown. That's how confident I am in Calvin Ridley. At number 11 is going to be Jalen Waddle. I love that little Madden dance they have for him. I know I just said about the offensive line with, Tyreek Hill, but I feel like they're both top 15 wide receivers, and if anything happened to either one of them, they just become electric number ones by like a +5 margin over anyone else, especially now with the Cooper Kupp injury. I mean, Jalen Waddle is such a specimen coming out the slot across the middle. His yak, everything is through the roof. I like Jalen Waddle at 11. At 12 is a guy I've been moving down my board, then back up my board, then down my board, then back up my board. And Devontae Adams, I've been a Niner fan so long. I know Jimmy G. And if you look at Devontae, yes, he's probably the best route runner in the league. He's getting older. And last year, in the last 4 games, he thrived off of like 70, 60, 80-yard touchdown bombs that car through to him. And we know that Jimmy G lives in the 50 to 20-yard range, which I don't know how many bombs Devontae is really going to get for the big points. I mean, he's still so good. I've got to put him at 12, but I think I'll be moving him down next week after week 1 game. At number 13, God, my voice. Sorry, guys. It's still not back. At number 13 is Chris Olave. Electric superstar rookie season. They add Michael Thomas, so I don't know if Olave is going to get the full, workload. We don't even know if Michael Thomas will make it to the season. All that's iffy. They do get the quarterback upgrade, which helps Olave a lot. And Michael Thomas's injury history, if anything happens to him, Olave will be shooting up the board. But right now, I have him at 13. At 14 is Devonta Smith. I just saw a crazy stat that 3 years, this guy has never missed a game. And he's not even like big. I'm like, this guy just avoids. He's elusive. He's got that Heisman swag going or something and never gets hit. But down the stretch last year, he outproduced AJ Brown, which if you knew that, like, it's crazy to think about down the stretch. Could he outproduce him this year to lower your value? I've seen a couple people make that bold prediction, but I'm going to keep him at 14 for now. At 15, just like last round, is my favorite wide receiver out of the 5 to draft. I am in love with Amari Cooper this season. I'm so bullish on him. Deshaun Watson is in his second year of chemistry. He's finally ready to rock, looking good in the preseason. And if you look back to last year, the last 4 games where they started clicking, Amari Cooper was wide receiver 7 over those weeks. And then week 17, he won a fantasy championship if you had him. I mean, he dropped that 30 bomb. For me, got me a chance. He's on my team that time when it happened. So I think he has his best season of his career. I think his ADP is at about the right spot. Could be a little higher if you're bullish on him, but I love Amari Cooper so much this season. It's crazy. At number 16 is going to be one of the receivers I'm going to put another caution tag on. I'm going to tell you why here in a second. It is T. Higgins. Now, I know that he's 24 years old, and he's probably the most electric number 2, if not Devonta Smith or Waddle. Those are all his top 3, talked about. But T. Higgins, when on the field with Jamar Chase, averages 8.9 points per game. That is not good enough for where his ADP value is right now. Now, of course, when Jamar Chase is off the field, he averages 14.4, but that's a given because then he becomes the number 1. And you're never going to take number 1 for Jamar Chase. So when you're in drafts coming up, if you're listening and put this in your head, T. Higgins is not worth the value at his ADP of 28 or 30, or I think on Yahoo is 28, and then underdog 26. So, no, I don't like him there at all. But he's so talented, I'm going to put him at 16 for now, but I think he'll be dropping down my boards as the week goes on. At number 17, God, is the guy that I wanted to draft in every league so bad, and then boom, popped a hammy. I I mean, this is really sad to say. Jerry Jeudy was wide receiver 1 over the last 4 weeks last year in fantasy. Started clicking with Russell Wilson, even though they were dead in the water. I was so high on him coming in. He was my sleeper wide receiver 1. Like, that's a bold prediction, but now, I mean, I don't even know if I draft him now. You know, once the hammy, always a hammy. It's very tough, but I have him at 17. Probably be dropping him down as we go on. At 18, Deebo Samuel, who everyone thinks is on this comeback tour, but here's another thing like T. Higgins. So when we signed, so I'm a Niner fan, so when the Niners signed CMC, I say we signed CMC last year, Deebo was like, let me pull it up, 7.8 points per game, which is just like T. Higgins. I know I just saw the update today that the Niners are going to try and, you know, leverage back CMC's usage to keep the running back ready for the playoffs and all this and that. Still, Deebo's value, like, I like Ayuk 2 rounds later value-wise, but Deebo's electric talent and yak and ability to break tackles and everything puts him here. But the points is just not worth the value where you pick him. That's why he's so much lower on my board. At number 19 is DK Metcalf. I see a little regression in him, even though he was second in red zone targets last year. An absolute beast near the red zone. I feel like when they add Jackson Smith and Jigba, there's so much going around. DK will still get his, but I don't know if he'll get his to produce kind of like T. Higgins and Deebo. Like, I don't feel like he's worth that value at that pick. But I'm going to leave him at 19 for now. And once again, the last one of the round is my absolute favorite. Dude, Keenan Allen is a wide receiver 1 being drafted as a wide receiver 2. It is freaking crazy, man. This guy was wide receiver 4 from weeks 11 to 18 last year, and he's being treated like he's injured all the time. So the injury scare drops his ADP down. Do not fear that. He has missed, 16. He's missed 8 games, 2 games on top of 8 games he's missed with a 1-game absence in the past 3 years. That's not a lot like people think, but they always think he's so hurt. I love Keenan Allen. I think he's a league winner this year. Great value at his ADP. I would take him over all 4 of the guys on the board right now. At 21 is Deontay Johnson. Mr. I get 140 targets a year, and I got no touchdowns last year. He's this guy that I'm flip-flopping with Pickens, and I know the touchdowns last year was 0 with all his targets. It was insane. He even had like the 5th most or 6th most red zone targets, which is crazy that he got 0 touchdowns. I know Pickett, accuracy was a little off, looks a lot better this year in the preseason. But with Deontay Johnson and Pickens right now, I'm kind of like 50-50. Do I think DJ's going to see more value than Pickens? Yes. Do I think that Pickens is going to get more touchdowns and jump balls and red zone? Of course, yes. I still think DJ's value is a little higher, so I like Deontay Johnson at 21. At 22, God, my voice is killing me. At 22, Chris Godwin. The only reason I have this guy so low is because Baker Mayfield. I mean, I know that he throws short and across the middle. Coming off his injury last year, he put up massive numbers. Like, no one thought Chris Godwin last year. I know he had Brady, and Brady's the GOAT, right? So, I mean, I know he had Brady. But I love Chris Godwin so much. He's in a bad situation. I like him like top 15 overall if he's on a better team. But he's just stuck on the Bucks. I don't know how much. He could go up next week. I'm just going to leave him at 22 for now. At 23 is Scary Terry McLaurin. I know he has turf toe. We don't know the update for the week 1 status yet, so keep Jahan Dotson ready to roll if you play daily or whatever it is. I think Jahan Dotson might even take over the job anyways if you look at how much that Sam Howell has been targeting him in the preseason. Even when they were on the field together, I think it was like an 8-3 target for like 3 drives they had. 8 for Jahan, 3 for Terry. So, I mean, Jahan Dotson's coming up either way, but Terry's talent still leaves him at 23. And I do think Sam Howell is an upgrade, so if Scary Terry is back and healthy week 1, you got to roll him out there. At 24 is the newly acquired DJ Moore, who everyone is so hyped on with Fields, and it's going to be the DJ Moore Fields show. They got to prove it first, man. If you watched any of Justin Fields' preseason, it wasn't the greatest passing accuracy. All the touchdowns you saw in the first game were 2-yard dump-offs taken to the house. DJ Moore's pass across the middle in week 3 was him breaking 5 tackles for a 40-yard run. So, I mean, yes, Justin Fields' running ability will be crazy. I don't know that the pass attempts is like 30th in the league last year. All of a sudden, people would think this is going to be a high flying passing offense. I know they have the weapons with Mooney and Claypool learning the system for a second year. I just don't know how much I really buy into the hype yet till I see it, but I think I'll be moving him up. Just not sure. I got to see it first. And at 25, once again, I saved these fifth ones for my favorite ones out of the, I don't know if it's a favorite out of the group, but damn close. Drake London is coming, everybody. He is here for the show. 28% target share last season. Now, I know that number is skewed because they don't pass a lot. They had like the 31st lowest pass attempts. Arthur Smith is pound the run. They get Bijan Robinson. And Kyle Pitts is supposed to be the guy that always shows up that doesn't. It's going to be Drake London time. Like, did you see his preseason catches? This guy is like George Pickens electric coming for the show. You should be drafting him in the 4th or 5th round with confidence. Don't be scared that he's on the Falcons. I love his win rate versus man is like number 4, and people don't even know that because they don't pass enough. He is lights out, man. I like Drake London a lot this season. At 26, it's going to be the old man himself, D-Hop, who is getting so much backlash or whatever you want because he's on the Titans, and just like the Falcons with my Drake London talk, they're not going to pass enough. Dude, he doesn't have Ryan Tannehill. All this guy does is produce. Like, no matter what, D-Hop is going to give you 1,010. No matter what. Like, look at last year at the Cardinals. No Kyler Murray, whatever it was. This guy is just unguardable one-on-one. Like, his hands are so goddamn good when the ball is in the air. One-hand it, pinky tip it to himself, behind the back. Like, whatever you want. D-Hop is super undervalued. I'll be moving him up the board after this week. I'm guaranteeing it 100%. At 27 comes in my BA explosion I've been tweeting about all year. I love Brandon Ayuk so much this season. Right now, I feel like I have him too low, but there's so many mouths to feed in San Francisco. It's tough. I don't know how it's going to play out yet right away. We got Purdy coming back. We don't really know. I'm going to leave him at 27, but I do have him as a league-winning wide receiver. So keep that in mind. At 28 is Christian Kirk. And I just read this crazy Jag stat. So Christian Kirk last season, full snaps, right? Like 98%, barely came off the field. Now that they have Ridley and Zay Jones on the outside, how many 3 wide receiver sets are the Jags really going to run? I mean, he's only slot. He's not going to really line up at X or Y outside like that. He's the only slot guy. So his usage drop is going to be bigger than most other receivers in his range, if that makes sense. So I'm not as high on Christian Kirk as I was last year. I was all in on Christian Kirk last year. I was pumping him up to everybody. This year, I'm kind of down the drain on Christian Kirk and his value. But I'll leave him at 28 for now. At 29 is Mike Williams, the big machine. I mean, if this guy ever puts together a 16-game season, I swear to God, he will be a top 10 receiver. But that's the only problem he has, is will he ever put together 16 games without being hurt? So that is my only comment to him. He's so good. If he stays healthy, he's way too low on the board right now, but his injury history just always makes me drop him down. And at number 30, last but not least, is one of my favorite, again, out of the group. This guy has no competition around him but Alex Pierce and Josh Downs, the rookie. I know that Anthony Richardson is a rookie and they have no JT, but think about the volume that we're talking about now with Michael Pittman. I mean, he's dropped down boards. He's like 88 ADP right now, which is insane. Get this guy in the 7th or 8th round 100%, even if it's a keeper league or something. Like, he's still going to be there for 4 or 5 years, and he's a superstar. He has put up massive numbers the past 2 years with no quarterback, man. So Michael Pittman, get him in your drafts. I like him so much this year at his ADP. It's crazy. That is it for my top 30 wide receivers, guys. Sorry about my voice again. It is killing me. If you guys like the content again, I'm hoping, man, I hope it's gone here soon. It's driving me crazy. If you guys like the content, like and subscribe. If you have any comments or anything, drop them down below. I love talking fantasy football. I love helping you out, roster questions, whatever it is. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow in the next video. Have a good one, guys.